Yeah, I'll talk a little bit. We're going to have 3 players here too, so when I'm done, so they don't have to sit here and listen to me talk, we'll have them come out, and you can talk to them. Basically, this is the summer roundup, so you have an idea of what we've done and why and all those things, and then we can talk about going forward. You can ask questions and all those things. You know, we do the summer, and we'll have goals, what we're trying to get done. Really important when you're taking over a new program. And there are reasons you're taking over a new program. Every time I've taken over a new program, some had been decades of whatever, and others had been that season or a few seasons. So the first is you're setting the tone. This summer was so big on us setting the tone. Setting the tone on how we're going to work, why we're doing what we're doing, because it's the foundation for the culture that we're going to have. But it starts with that foundation. The second piece was the individual development. See, I believe that individual development comes before you start talking systems and how your team's going to play. And we did none of that system, teamwork, plays. We don't have an out-of-bounds play, a zone offense. We don't have a press. We have nothing. What we worked on was individual development, getting them to understand where we're trying to take each individual. The reason is, at the end of the year, my hope is they say, I've never been a better basketball player. This is the best I've ever been. This is the best my mindset's ever been. This is the best I've been as a teammate. I've got the best heart I've ever had. I care about people. I'm doing stuff. At the end of the year, that's what we want. But the foundation for that is started right here in the summer. And I've always believed this, you know, it's culture first and winning follows. So this foundation was so that we could start what this culture is going to look like. And it's as much mind as it is body. And I'll talk about all this stuff here in a second, but it's as much mind. How do we make them as uncomfortable as we can, and they learn to be comfortable in those environments? That's what we did all summer. We didn't just do shooting. We conditioned and then make a shot. Now make shots. How do we make them uncomfortable? And I'll talk a little bit more in advantage drills, where now people are moving and you got to recognize stuff. We did the practices, but before we did that, we did morning weight training. This morning they were in there at 8 o'clock. Weight train. Hard to weight train at 8 o'clock in the morning and get enthusiastic. You're working on their minds, not just their bodies. Breakfast as a team. You're not late. You're where you're supposed to be. Breakfast. Just set the tone of what we're trying to do. We go to practice. Practice is about teaching. We've had 25 coaches, high school coaches, come through and watch. I think they'd all say a lot of teaching was done. A lot of, you ready? Conditioning. Not just to condition in the drills we did. And then the third thing is they competed against each other. Because, yeah, we've got to be a team, but you got to go against each other, and certain guys will start standing out and doing that. Because of how we play, you got to be able to fly up and down the court. We're having the track coach come over when we come back to teach us how to sprint. How about just teach us how to run? You don't run like that. Your feet don't fly. So we've got to go to the basis of how we play fast. You got to run fast. I've done this at other schools where I've been. We brought in the track coach. They're the geniuses. They know how to do this, the running. The second piece is, how do you play fast but your mind moves slow? Well, you do drill work to make them, you're playing really fast, but your mind's got to slow down. Yeah, we're fast, we're just not in a hurry. You talk about advantage drills. How do you do things where you broke down your guy, but they're running at you now? How do you not charge or turn it over? What do you do? Those are the things we worked on for the guys. Defensively, feet, your footwork. How do you get a big base? How about this one? How do you play with your arm? We're long, 7'2", 6'11", 6'10". We are long. Well, let's play with our arms out. We set that foundation. Those are the things we did in the summer. But my biggest challenge, again, you take over programs, there's a reason. The biggest challenge you have, and I've always had, is mindset. How do I get these guys to think different, to think bigger? It was only a few short months ago I walked in with no team, no staff, no schedule, and now we're talking about how do we get a new team and how do we get them to think together but think bigger? Well, you think big, but you work bigger, because it's not being delusional. You're not dreaming dreams. This is about what you're trying to accomplish for yourself. So I always tell the story, but I'm trying to get them to think like kings, because kings think different. Arnold Palmer went over to Bahrain to build a golf course. After he was done, he went to see the king, and they said on the way in, look, if the king offers you a gift, accept it, because you always accept a gift. So he walks in, and the king thanked him and said, look, I'd like to give you a gift. And Arnie said, that's fine. And the king said, what would you like? Now, Arnie was taken aback, so he said, a golf club. Just a golf club would be fine. So he left. The king said, I will. Great seeing you. He left. He goes home. And on the way home, he's thinking about this driver with a gold head with diamonds. It's from the king. It's going to be in his office. He's going to tell stories about it, what he did in meeting the king. Well, he gets home, and 2-3 weeks goes by, and there's no golf club. So then a letter comes, and his secretary gives it to him, and he says, is there anything with it? Is there? No, just this. So he opens the letter, and the letter thanks him. So he's kind of disappointed, and he puts it back in the envelope, and there's another piece of paper in there. And he takes out the piece of paper, and it's a deed to a golf club. Kings think different than we think. And I've got to get these kids to understand, I want you to think big and dream big, but you must work bigger. But your dreams for yourself and your teams have to be big. As you dream bigger, think bigger, there are going to be bumps in the road. It's all part of what we do. I say that because I feel the excitement. Like, I feel it. I feel it in the building. I feel it on the campus. I feel it around the state. I see it. I feel it. I was told a couple weeks ago that we sold out season tickets. People, it's July. The building seats 20,000. Season tickets gone. What I say to you and all of our fans, I'm as excited as you are. Let's be patient. I've already told you we haven't played. First of all, they say, how's it going? I said, it's great. We haven't lost a game yet. Everybody's excited. But be patient, because how we do this. It is a process. No staff, no team, and no schedule 3 months ago. But you can tell I'm excited about this group, and you can talk to the players when they come in. So any questions for me? Or did I answer them all already?
As coaches in learning, you please identify yourself, please. Hey, John, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You talked about, you've done a lot of stuff in 3 months. You got your staff, you got your players, you have most of your schedule, I think. How do you feel like that's gone for you?
it's been kind of exciting. You know, no roster. You know what the advantage is? You handpick every guy. We handpicked them all, so that's exciting. Schedule was really hard because there was no schedule. So now where this schedule will be, right now we'd like to get another home game. We're going to Michigan and New York City. We're playing in Kansas City not far. We chose there for a game with Illinois where our fans can get to. We've got an exhibition with TCU in Dallas. We're in the works. We're in the works with Kansas on an exhibition here in Bud Walton. We play at Miami. We're trying to get another home game or another game maybe in Dallas or neutral site. Obviously, we play in Little Rock. But this was hard now, and we're still not done because most people had most of their stuff done when we took over. And then I did not ask about schedule until after I had 5 players, so I knew I could field a team. Wouldn't be a nice warm-up line, but I could field a team. Can I see the schedule? There is no schedule. There got to be a schedule. There's no schedule. So that part of it is a little bit, you like to do. But I'm going to catch a breath. I'm going to the Jersey Shore for a while. The players leave here in 2 days, 3 days, and I'm going to catch my breath. It's exciting. Now I go to bed early. You wake up and you're going until you sit in a chair at home. And my wife said, "Do you think you ought to go to bed?" So, but it's been great that way. Moving around the state, been great. I just want everybody to be patient and know this isn't. Now, can I go back? Coach Sutton did a great job here. Coach Richardson, think about the mid-'90s. They could have won back-to-back championships. Is not done very often. It's doable. Muss did a great job. Coach Muss, look, last year they struggled, but you think about where he took it's doable. Maybe I do it different. It takes a little longer. I don't know the history of everybody, but this thing, what we're about to do, is always going to be about players. It's going to be about putting the best talent on that floor, and then my job is to get them to come together and play for one another. And I feel comfortable doing those things.
And as far as the roster you put together and obviously familiar staff.
Ronnie Brewer, he's going to be in a really important position, recruiting coordinator for the Mid-South, which is Arkansas. We made a couple offers in state, and you might say, I'll only make an offer if I think, 1, the young man's built for this, and 2, he can help us win. But also, how about Dallas? How about Oklahoma City? How about St. Louis, Missouri? How about Memphis, Tennessee? There's an area that Ronnie can be. But I also want him to be our liaison to all the former players. Because anybody that knows how I've done this, and I've talked to many of them already. We're going to do a fantasy camp. I want them all to come back, be a part of this. I've sent some pictures out of some of the guys. Corliss, the picture of him, and I'm saying we got to get this back to where you guys had it. So he's going to do that. Riley Hall, who's basketball ops, couldn't have done this stuff when you asked, how'd you get this much stuff done? Couldn't have done it without someone that knew this university and the system and how things work. And then I brought guys with me. We're still filling out the staff. We have one. I want to bring Tyler Eulis, he and Brad, to be those on-court guys. I'd like those two to be able to do some of the recruiting, so Kenny and Chucky and Chin don't have to be all of it. Those guys can be some leg work for them, which is good. They're both young and can get out there. We got Chris and Lenitha. We got Bruiser Flint. We got the 2 Kevins in the film room. Matt and Dave, who have done great jobs in the weight training and the training room. I mean, those guys are really good. I feel real comfortable with the staff. I really do. Did I miss anybody?
You didn't talk about the roster.
I just talk about what I want. Have you guys not understood that yet? You can ask me whatever you want. I'm going to say what. No, the roster I feel good about. 8 or 9, it's 9. We still have 10, 11, 12. We still have those guys. But that 8-man roster is kind of handpicked. The others, if they can work themselves into a rotational, that's fine. They all can shoot. I want guys that can make shots. No, I feel good about the roster.
The balance of the roster, bringing some guys with you, some high school guys, one returning player, that was obviously by design, as you said. What have you been able to ascertain as far as how that looks so far is in limited stuff that you've done?
Well, I feel pretty good. 3 guards, 3 wings, 3 bigs. Trevin's better than I thought he was. So a story. He's standing there and he's laying on his back. I said, "You're better than I thought you were." And he looks at me and says, "I told you." But that's the confidence that I want him to feel. He's talented, but he's got to get into wars and be comfortable in those situations. My whole thing with what I do is I try to make guys uncomfortable and let them know you must be comfortable when you're uncomfortable. You got to learn. You got to understand that's all part of it. But no, I'm feeling good about who we have and what we have, and they're going to compete. We have a few point guards. Probably have 3 or 4 guys that could play point.
And as a follow-up to that, Nelly Davis and Jonas Adu, guys that are all-league type of guys, maybe preseason All-American stuff, how have they looked so far in terms of both leadership and on-court?
You could tell they're experienced. They're like vets. The other guy that's been really good is Adu Thiero. I keep telling him he's turning into his father. I coached his father. His father's truly cut out of granite, and you're going to see him. And you guys saw him a year ago, but the things he had to work on and needs to continue to work on, he has. DJ, David's done a great job. DJ's father came in and looked at him the other day and said, "Man, what?" TB's dad, same thing. I see bumps on my son I haven't seen. So when we talk weight room, I don't want to hear they're doing great. Give me numbers. It's all I want is numbers. The other stuff doesn't matter. I don't need it. And when you see the numbers, like some guys, their core and their legs, if you want to be better, that's got to improve. Some guys had to go body fat. Like we had a guy like 20. Can't be 20. What? He's at 12 right now. So, I mean, those are the things that I'm seeing. Nelly lives in that gym. He'll work out 2-3 times a day. Can really shoot it. What I love is making him uncomfortable. Because when he's uncomfortable, and you can see it. And I can say to him, this is what you have to overcome. We've got to make you comfortable being uncomfortable because now you can be an attack dog. TB, I'm trying to make him an attack dog. I don't want him standing out there shooting threes. No, you're not doing that here. I'm not letting Z, you ready, shoot any threes. Big Z, 7'2", he wants to shoot. No. You're not shooting threes. So now he has to shoot twos. You know why? An elbow jumper, when you miss that, it's kind of embarrassing. A 3 when you're 7'2" and you're way out there, oh, man, he almost made that. No, you're shooting twos. And that means you're going to get in the gym and get better or you're going to be embarrassed all the time. And you know what? He's getting better. Jonas was all conference. We already know. I mean, we're trying to work on his wheels. I want him to run better, run smoother, but he's still a beast. Shooting the ball better, but getting his legs. Boogie's better than I thought. I know what DJ is. He'll be as good as anybody. Just needs to continue to get healthy with that ankle. And then Carter and Billy, both. I'm trying to say, Carter, you're not settling on jump shots. Nope, not happening. And anytime he drives and he gets to the rim, I stop the practice. That's what I'm talking about. Why doesn't he do that more? Because he's uncomfortable. It's easier shooting jump shots. I don't need you to shoot jump shots. I need you to be that guy. And Billy Richmond, he just got to get more consistent shooting. And where can you make a shot so they got to guard you? Because when they guard you, you're going by people. Like he's good. And I coached his dad. So, coached DJ's dad. And that doesn't mean I'm getting older. It means I coached when I was very young.
Coach Andrew Hutchison, Best of Arkansas Sports. You mentioned the unique roster construction that you went with, 8 to 9 rotation guys. With the recent news that the scholarship limit's going to increase up to 15 players, does it change anything for you, or is it just going to kind of continue what you did?
Nope. I'm having 8 or 9. And then I'll fill out the roster. You know what I can do? I can give walk-on scholarships now if I choose to. Maybe I use that somewhere else. Maybe I get GAs that can still play, and I use it that way. How about I do that? Now, look, here's what I don't want to have. At the end of the year, we're working. I want to coach every player like he's a starter, which is what I've always done. When you have 12 or 13, that stretches you a little bit. Last year, we ended up with 1 or 2 too many after injuries, and then we got healthy. Hard. But what you don't want with this transfer, every kid's a free agent at the end of the year. You have 8 or 9, maybe 1 or 2 stay, but you're not dealing with 10, 11, 12. Well, you got to do this. You got to start me. You got to do – no. And I'm not coaching a player so that another guy can coach him. I'm not doing that either. I got my 8 or 9. When I was at UMass, you say, well, times were different. Well, we had 6 guys play. That's it. They knew not to foul because I didn't have, you don't foul. But you know what? It may have been the best team I ever coached. And obviously, they were really happy. Those 6 were so happy. They were playing every minute they could play. Played guys 38 minutes. And we played fast. And we went to the Final Four. I mean, it wasn't like we were number 1 in the country playing 6 guys. Played against our walk-ons every day. Had a coach coaching the second group of walk-ons so that I wasn't spending a whole lot of time. I needed my focus on them. So there's all kind of ways of doing this. And if this isn't the right way, I'll change. Normally I change fast. But I'm thinking this is the right way.
Yeah, Anthony Christensen, Whole Hog Sports. I guess can you just talk about, recruiting? You've always had a knack for getting, top-level guys. How have you kind of adjusted to the changing landscape, especially now in a new job?
All we've done is moved the headquarters from one place to another. That's all. We're recruiting the same thing. I'm saying the same thing in the home that I've said for 30 years. Now, why would you say the same things in each home? Well, he says it works. It's been pretty successful, but here's why. I know what I said in every home. I know what I said. I'm not going to say things that I don't remember. Well, guess what? I remember because somebody put out a video of me in a home visit. Have you seen that video? That was Emmanuel Quickley's home visit. And there was an iPad that his aunt and her either husband or fiance was on, and I think they videoed it from that. I can't remember, but I remember the visit. Somebody said, "Did you seen it?" Yeah, I've done that visit 1,000 times. It's the same visit, and it becomes this: if you're drinking, smoking, clubbing, or chasing, don't come here. If you're not into basketball, if you got a little bit of fraud in you, don't come here. If you're delusional, don't. If you're a grinder and you want to challenge yourself against other really good players, then you come here. If you want to see how good you can become, but you're going to have to earn it. If you want to take what you want, this is the place. Not going to change. We got 9 really good players out there. Some are going to play more than others. Why would that be? Say, they earn it. Why would some guys shoot more than other guys? they make more. So you're going to shoot more. If you want to shoot more, make more. But you got to earn this stuff. And then at the end, you sit there and say, I never knew I could be this good. And it wasn't easy. And sometimes it takes guys longer because maybe they're not on the same path, but sometimes it took them longer to understand, I'm going to have to take what I want. So we're not changing. And I think we're involved with the players we need to be involved with. We want to have 4 freshmen come in that can come in and do what my freshmen have done in the past. Probably can't get to where I used to be where we take 6, 7. You can't now because you're going to have some players return and maybe a transfer or 2, and that will be how we build rosters. But, you know, we're going to go after the best players that we can, and then we're going to develop them and make them the best team they can be and get them to share. When they'll understand, again, winning matters to all of us. To me, my standard of winning, well, you know what it's been at all these places. We've been number 1 in the country at all of them. Been to Final Fours, won 1 national title. Everybody will say should have won 9. Okay, I agree. Can we move on now? But the reality of it is winning matters. And we won at the highest level. 6 guys from our team, 6, have gotten drafted. When you win. So if you want to win, then everybody will eat. 4 lottery picks from 1 team. The number 1 pick and the number 2 pick. Number 1 4 different times. Canby was the number 2. So it's all different schools in there. But it's the same. Look, this is Arkansas. This is a special place. This has a history. 2 of the former coaches, Hall of Famers. Hall of Famers. Eddie Sutton and Nolan. I mean, that's who coached here. This is, I understand what it is, which is why you can tell I'm excited about doing this again. Let's do it again. Now, I'm going to say this to everybody here. I can't do this by myself. It'll take 1,000 people all together. What can I do to help? And it'll be at all different levels. How do I help? What do I do? We get it done. I want 1,000 people to say, without me, it couldn't have been done. He needed me to help. Yes, I do. And part of that right now, just make sure you're a little patient. It doesn't happen overnight. Look, there's no magic wand up here. They're not computers. I've said that many times. This isn't a video game. Got to work on their mind. Well, guess what? That takes time. That mindset. To get that negative voice off your shoulder. You're thinking positive voice all the time. Things don't go right. Forget that voice, that other voice. If you want to be special and set yourself apart, you got to be your biggest cheerleader. You can't expect me to build your self-confidence. You know where you build your self-confidence? In that gym. And if you miss 10 straight shots and I say, you're okay, it doesn't matter. You look in the mirror and say, I'm not okay. I don't know why he'd say that. I mean, you build it yourself. And that's what we're doing. And I'll tell you, again, this has been a great summer. I need to step away just to breathe a little bit. But we've enjoyed it. And someone will call, how's Ellen doing, my wife? She grew up 2.5 hours from here. I told her, she grew up in Osceola, Missouri. I tell her she grew up on a dirt farm. She said, it wasn't a dirt farm. But that's where she grew up. She's more than comfortable. So, like, I'm excited to get this going. It's going to be hard. They're all hard. You won't believe this. Other teams are trying to win, too. And other teams are putting things together. And we're in the SEC. And by the way, I think some people have picked us in the bottom half already. Oh, we've been picked in the bottom half. That's okay. We got to play games. You got to get in the ring. Let's go. Pick us in the bottom half. Pick us last. Pick us first. None of that matters. It's getting your team right, having guys that are playing at their best individually, and then let's get them together and see how we play. I'm telling you, I don't know how we're going to play yet, other than it'll be fast, it'll be unselfish, need some post presence. I hope we're a great three-point shooting team, because if we are, we'll shoot a lot of threes. If we're not, well, you got to shoot whatever you can. You're not that team. We'll figure it out when we get them all back here in September, late August. Yes. That answer your question? No, I didn't think so.
Jackson Fuller at the Southwest Times Record. Coach, you've already spoken about him a bunch today, but TB, can you walk us through maybe any insight on that process of him coming back here? You know, it sounds like I told you so. He maybe, had to prove himself a little to you. What was that like of him returning?
No, I just, when I went in that room, that locker room, and there was no one in there, like, my thought was, well, maybe he don't want to be here, and I wasn't going to beg anybody. I don't even beg recruits I'm recruiting. They got to want this as bad as I want them. They got to want me and us, our staff. And with a player that's been here, if they don't want to be here, would you want him here? No? So then I find out, like, Coach, I think he wants to be here. Really? Well, get him on the phone with me, because I knew he was good. And then we talked to his dad, sat down. That's what he wanted to do. I said, well, let's go do this. Told him my plan for him, what we try to do. But he's going to be in here. You can talk more about that with him. I'm excited for him because, talked to Conzo Martin about him, who loves him, by the way. And I think my hope is everybody comes out and says, that's what I knew he could be. Then we've done our job as coaches. So you have an idea of the mindset for all these kids. He's never been better. I knew he could be that good. Those are the things I want to hear.
And then talking specifically about Kenny Payne, I know you talked about staff already a little bit, but talking about Kenny Payne, how big has it been just for you to have him on your staff again after his time at Louisville in the NBA?
Well, Kenny and Chin's here. You're talking Chucky. They're all brothers. We've been in the fight together. We've been in the foxhole together. And what we know, Bruiser, that no one's going to run for coffee and not come back. We're in the foxhole together, and we're each other's PR machine. They know how I'm going to be toward them. I give them room to do their thing. Kenny and I had an unbelievable run. And let me just say, that 10 years, 8 years may never be matched by anybody. That was ridiculous. But I'll say this, the 5 years in the mid-'90s here, it may not be matched by anybody either. That was an unbelievable time. But here's what I would say. First of all, I wanted Kenny to know, you're Kenny Payne. I don't care about any of that. I know Kenny Payne, what you do for kids, how you add value, how you care your heart. The same with Chin. Like, I know who he is. And he's the next one, the next wave of guys to go get his own opportunity. I keep saying, you make sure with this environment, it's the right one, because this environment has changed what's a good job and what's a not so good job. But they're all working, they all add value, they all create relationships. Kids, like, I called a kid in, and you would think that one of the staff said, yeah, I said, I just want to see him. What? What's he want to see me about? It's like they're coming to the principal. So their relationship with the assistants has to be one of, this is my uncle. And I try to tell them, look at me. Why would you be intimidated by me? Like, what, am I going to fight you? I mean, but they have an opinion, and I told you, I'm Johnny Calipari from Moon Township. That's how I see myself. They don't see me that way. What's he want? So they need to be that way, and they are. But it's been fun. I think I got an unbelievable staff. I really do. And it's top to bottom. And staffs have become bigger than they used to be. So you got a lot of people.
John, I know you talked about being on Dixon Street with your son and loud music. Maybe guys our age shouldn't be living on Dixon Street, but you're just wondering
I was living on Dixon Street.
Yeah. Well, what was that
in a
like?
condo.
Yeah.
One of the Lindsay's got me a condo. They didn't tell me they left earplugs, and I said, what are the earplugs for? But I figured that out in about 3 days.
So I guess what was that like? And then now I know you got a nice house, obviously. What's it like getting settled in? I mean, you lived somewhere for 15 years now. You're moving. Even for somebody getting paid like you are, that's a big deal.
You know what? When you move offices, so I'm going to give you this because my wife, she does the move stuff. Like I said, you got to do something. You know, she doesn't. Please don't put that out. She'll go crazy. So she wanted all new furniture. Like, why? This stuff is. Well, so what are you saying? How do we used to live? I mean, what are you talking about? But anyway, I made her bring some stuff. Nope, you're not. That's coming and stuff. But we'll be fine. It's just going to take us some time. But here's what happens when you move offices. All of a sudden, stuff pops out. I have a book I bought in 1993, Bill Musselman, when I was at UMass. I sent a picture to Muss, and I sent him. I paid for it, just so he'd know. And his dad was way ahead of the game at that point. And so there's stuff like that pops out. There's things that I'm sending. For some reason, I had the Final Four program from 213 and still the wrapping on it. Final Four program. Why would I have it? And I looked, and Syracuse was in it. So I sent it to Jim, and I said, thought you might enjoy this. It popped out. I don't have any idea why I still had it. Who won the national title that year? So I think Rick shoved it in there to remind me that he won it. So I still have no idea, but there's all kind of other things I took pictures of. Fran Fraschilla had it. They're just so, and then I've read some stuff I was saying back in 96 and 95 and stuff in 2005, and I hate to tell you, I've been pretty consistent with how I approach things. I'm going to take the responsibility for what is on me and leave it off those kids. And but some of it, like I told Brad, you need to read this, and I'm going to have Lanitha type up some of the stuff just for me to save it. But that stuff kind of goes through. And I'm a little bit of a hoarder. My wife says big, but it's organized. It's not chaos. It's organized stuff. But I've been doing this for a while. So getting my office set up at home and here, there's a lot of stuff. But we're living in a great area. It's in a cul-de-sac. I can go outside in the morning to walk my dog, and my hair can be up like that. No one sees me. There's no pictures, no one back there. So it's, we're comfortable. And my wife, for you men to understand, happy wife, happy life. She is 240 from her family. We've already driven up there. And she's comfortable with this kind of lifestyle. And I am. Like, look, I started on a college campus at UMass. 90,000 here. How many students? 33,000. 90,000 people live here. But you had Boston 2 hours away. Little Rock, you had New York 3 hours away. Oklahoma City, you have Dallas, you have Kansas City. But you're on a college campus. And it's built for this town, for the students, because it's a college campus. But I'm comfortable with that, and so is Ellen. And, we're just ready to get started, get away, come back, let's go. It's on. Anybody in the back, you have any questions for me? It'll be getting us together as a team, because all I worked on this summer, all the staff did, was it's all about individual development. We'll worry about that stuff come September. Right now, it's who do we have and how do we get them better, and how do they start feeling better about themselves and where we're going to head this. The foundation that we set that I talked about earlier, so that we can walk right in and build this culture the way that we want it, but you had to have the foundation. So I don't know. All I know is the SEC is going to be really, really good again. When I first walked in the SEC, there were 3 teams going to the NCAA tournament. And we were I can remember us being in, we got to get to 6. I can remember it. And now we're at 8 or 9, maybe 10. Think about that. And so this switch has flipped. Every game is hard, especially road games. How about coming here to play? You know, not many teams won here. Am I right? No, we won a couple here, but why are they laughing? Anything? Did that answer your question? Go ahead. Who else? Go ahead.
You may already be aware of this, I'm sure you are, but if you look at the Olympics right now, you have enough players you coach, mentored, and developed that if you extracted those, you could have a Coach Cal in the Olympics. Have a legit shot at winning a medal. Have you considered petitioning the committee?
No, I would never petition. That's not how this goes, and I'm so happy for the staff. Mark Few, by the way, is a really good friend. Hopefully we're doing something with them in the future. But he's a really good friend, and Steve, and I know all those guys. They're terrific people, and they deserve to be there. No, I'm good. I'm good. I got a big job here. Get this thing right and have people look at us and say, what are they doing? How do we do that? Let people look at this and say, wow, here it goes again. But it takes everybody. And we have been treated in a way that we know, how do we help you? And that's coming from all directions. What do we do to help? How do we get, people want this to happen. And, I feel it. I'm loving it. But having a good group and then following it up with a good recruiting group, another one, because you got to admit Boogie, Carter, and Billy are 3. That's a good group. And now you go forward with another group, and you start that role of what we do here and how we do it. How about we bring the players in and let those guys, you can ask them questions, whatever you want, and I'll leave so they can say whatever they have on their chest and mind, okay? Thank you.